I did not look into real estate and go, I'm going to buy apartment complexes and raise capital from investors and we'll buy them as a team. I went simply to, I'm going to buy a house and rent it out. What I did learn very quickly on was I don't want to own one house. I never want to own one house because the minute it's vacant, 100% of my income is gone from that property and vacancies happen all the time. So I bought 2 houses. And then I got my first taste of dealing with property managers and dealing with phone calls from property managers and dealing with all these little nitpicky decisions and checking them on little things like fixing the stove or fixing a spring in the garage or fixing some flooring that got torn. And I realized, man, this is a very tedious task to own single family homes because I had this plan to have a lot of them, right? Not just have 2. I wanted to have 50 or 100 homes. And I realized, man, this is a lot of work. There's got to be a better way. And so I started a new research path and learning about apartment complexes and investing in multifamily syndications. I learned that individuals don't typically buy apartment complexes. Groups of people buy apartment complexes, investors, and then someone at the helm, someone in charge called the operator or the syndicator. And so I started meeting people that operate and run apartment complexes. I started learning the business plan of how the apartment complexes run and what it means to invest in those. And then I started investing money into syndications as a passive investor. So I was learning the business and then I was investing my money in the business. And then I got to really learn the business because when you have your money invested in these large apartment complexes to the tune of $50, $100, $200,000, you really pay more attention to what's going on. You read the emails that are coming out telling you updates about your property. I was in these deals. So then what started happening is I would walk around at the office with my other television workers, my other editors, producers. And the conversations would typically go, hey, what did you do this weekend? Oh, I went to this new restaurant. Oh, I went to this show. Oh, I hung out with my family. Chris, how about you? Oh, I just got back from Texas. We were checking out a new property we were buying. And typically people, if they hear that and they don't know anything about you, they think, oh, you're buying a house? Are you moving there? Are you buying an investment property? I was like, oh, no, we just bought it was a 192 unit complex in San Antonio. And you see their eyes just bug out of their brain. Wait, you bought a what? I'm like, yeah, we're buying an apartment complex. Like I bought single family homes before. Now we're buying apartment complexes. What? These people are shocked. What do you mean you're buying apartment complexes? That makes no sense, right? You're just another editor working down the hall. I didn't buy it, right? I'm invested in this apartment complex. I'm an investor. I'm part of a group of people and we're buying it as a group. And so then came the next logical question from these people, which is, oh man, that sounds awesome. I should be invested in real estate. Can you teach me that? I want to do that too. I'm supposed to be invested in real estate. And I find that a lot of people have that mentality, right? I'm supposed to be invested in real estate, but I don't know how, or I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. It's overwhelming. Do I have enough money? What am I supposed to do? Chris, can you teach me? And then I'd have to have this hard conversation of, man, this is year 7 for me of morning, noon, and night, learning real estate from scratch, investing hundreds of thousands of dollars, failing through, seeing wins, flying around the country, meeting people, building up a network of individuals that I can call on, rely on, invest with, ask advice of. Man, how am I supposed to teach someone this over lunch? I can't teach them anything significant over lunch or dinner. So what I ended up doing was I realized, look, all these people want to be invested in real estate, but they don't have the time or the ambition to go do what I've done. So why don't I form groups of investors and I can bring them into deals that I'm going to invest in? So I talked to some of the operators that I've been investing with, and I said, hey, look, what if we partner up on another deal coming up, and I'll bring some of these investors who are asking me if they can be invested in these same deals. And so we went out and tried it. I basically let all my editor and producer friends know, hey, we're buying another apartment complex. I'm investing in this deal anyway. If you want to come along, great. If not, no problem. I'm doing it anyway. But if you want to ride along with me, here's why I think this is a great deal. Here's what I think is going to happen. Here's the business plan. Here's what we're doing. right then and there, I formed my own syndication company just organically because people were asking for it. After we bought the first apartment complex, I thought, what if I make this more of a business? What if I intentionally go out and talk to investors and raise awareness about what I'm doing? And so that's how I formed my company, Amity Cash Flow. I was more intentional. Hey, I have all these operators that I've met over the years that I've invested money with, and I can start building teams around the country. Because one thing I realized quickly is I don't want to go move to Texas. I don't want to move to Florida. I don't want to move to Arizona. I want to live in California, but I don't want to invest in California. Don't want to own. Now we can go buy a property together, and I can tell my investor group, hey, look, I can be your hub. If you get to know me and you trust what I'm doing, I can get you into deals around the country with partnerships that I've already established that I'm investing my money into. And if you want to come along, let's do it. I realized that I can help people in a more meaningful way than just teaching them. Because when I teach them, a lot of people get overwhelmed. They decide this is too much. I don't want to go and try and do all that. Oh man, my good friend Chris is doing that and can handhold me along the way. Great, let's do that. And so that's why a lot of investors come to me. They know that I'm putting my own money in these deals. They know that I speak in pretty plain English. I don't overwhelm them with jargon. And that's where Amity Cash Flow started, and that's where we're at now. From there, it just grew, actually, as I started talking to more and more people intentionally. I started going to different conferences and meeting investors. Investors would find out how much real estate I'd actually done at that point. And today it's 2024, and this year we bought property 20 and 21 for the portfolio. Nice. So that's the story so far.
That's really awesome. Yeah. And I think the progression, especially in that boom of syndication in 2017 to 2021, it was like this massive, like everybody was a syndicator. And it was like, I'm going from nothing to, I just bought 7,000 units this year. And it was like, what is happening? But then we saw those people with those 7,000 units, like a lot of them starting to falter and things going wrong and the deal's not working out and the issues with the partners and hearing the wind out there.
And slow and methodical is definitely more my way of life. When you learn skateboard tricks, you have to learn one trick before you build on it. You can't just move to the most advanced tricks. One, you won't be able to do it. Your body won't have the muscle memory to do it. But two, you'll get hurt because you're trying bigger things than your body should. So I would learn slowly. And when I build businesses and when I get into investments, it's the same way. So when I got into real estate, I spent 2.5 years just learning. I didn't have to put any money anywhere. I didn't invest in any deals. For me, I didn't have that pressure. I had a job, a career, a beautiful life. I'm just living my good life, knowing that I will be invested into real estate. It will be my path, securing my future. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it correctly. And I'm going to do it with a stable foundation and an understanding of how it works, the ins and the outs. And then I'm going to invest my money in it slowly but surely and get to know it as an investor. So by the time I got to actually speaking with investors about trusting me with their capital, I felt ready for that responsibility because I know I had such a strong foundation. There's a lot of people who jumped into syndication and are still doing it today, to be honest. They learn about syndication and then they're going to go and raise capital right away and get people to trust them with their money. And I'm constantly having these sobering conversations with people about just the gravity of what they're talking about, that someone is considering taking their retirement money, right? $100,000, $500,000, and they're going to put it in your hands to invest it into an apartment complex. And you are responsible for the business plan and seeing the success of that return on their investment. And what happens if you don't do great? What happens if that property falters and this is your first time doing it? It's a terrible idea. I think people jump into this way too quickly. And I think that's what you've seen people flare out. They come into this thinking it's great and sexy, and then, oh, wow, this is a lot of work. And then they take off and they're no longer in the space anymore. And I always had a long-term thought process. This is not a get rich quick. This is a get rich for sure plan. But that's going to take time. There are certainly days, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't, where I get tired, where it's a lot of work and it's talking to investors and it's looking at another property that you don't buy, but you got to still look at it, and talking with investors. That investor's never going to invest with me. They're not a great fit. But you just keep going down the road. You have to focus on the daily work that will get to your end goal. You just got to stick it out and keep doing the work. So
for sure.
Yes, it's a lot of work and it can get tedious and tiring, but it does have huge potential for not just me and my family, but for our investors, right? To see a huge return, to see financial stability. And for a lot of my friends who are still with me from the TV industry, some kind of retirement for them, right? Like a way that they can be invested in real estate without having to do all the work.